In the kingdom of Eldoria, there lived a great king and his beautiful wife, Queen Alina. They were loved by the people because they ruled with kindness and fairness. After many years of waiting, the queen finally gave birth to a baby boy. The whole kingdom rejoiced, for an heir to the throne was born. He was named Prince Darius. The queen had a very close friend named Maribel. She trusted her more than anyone else. Maribel visited the palace almost every day, shared secrets with the queen, laughed with her, and pretended to love the prince like her own child. The queen never knew that behind Maribel's smiling face was a heart full of jealousy and evil plans. When Prince Darius turned 5 years old, the palace prepared a grand celebration. There was music, food, dancing, and gifts. The whole kingdom was invited. Everyone was happy, except Maribel. That night, after the celebration, something terrible happened. As the palace slept, unknown men sneaked into the children's chambers and kidnapped the young prince. The guards were confused. No one heard a sound. On their way to kill the child in the forest, the kidnappers argued. They spoke carelessly, not knowing the child could hear them. They mentioned the queen's best friend as the one who ordered the crime. At that moment, the prince pretended to be weak. When the men stopped to rest, he beat one of them and ran as fast as his small legs could carry him. He ran into the bush, through thorns and darkness, crying and bleeding until his legs failed him. He collapsed on the ground and lost consciousness. By morning, a poor hunter named Bako found the child. He was shocked to see a small boy dressed like royalty. He carried him home, cleaned his wounds, and gave him herbal medicine. After some days, the boy woke up, but he could not speak. His eyes were empty. The shock had taken his memory and voice. The hunter and his wife decided to raise the child as their own. But the villagers insisted, and they sent the poor boy away, that he could be a spy or an evil spirit in disguise. But the hunter and his wife refused. They had to plead with the king of their hometown. He also refused them, giving them 3 days to send back the child wherever they saw him. The judgment of the king was ruthless, and the villagers, but the hunter and his wife, looking at the poor child, stand on their ground that they will adopt the child as their own. The king and the villagers insisted if they don't return the child, they should leave the village. So the hunter and his wife and his kids, including the prince, relocate to the nearby community. It was hard for them to settle, but the hunter was a very kind man. He took it to himself to make sure the boy is okay. They named him Kofi. He grew up hunting, farming, and living a hard life. Though poor, the hunter taught him honesty, strength, and kindness. The boy was very smart and brave, different from other children. Meanwhile, the palace was in chaos. The king sent soldiers everywhere. They searched villages, forests, and rivers. The queen cried day and night until she collapsed. Days passed, weeks passed, months passed. The prince was never found. The queen fell seriously ill. Her heart was broken. Maribel visited her often, pretending to comfort her, while secretly moving freely around the palace. Because the queen was weak, Maribel helped prepare food and manage palace matters. Slowly, she began to seduce the king, using pity, tears, and lies. The king, broken by the loss of his only son, fell into her trap. 2 years later, Maribel returned to the palace and told the king she was pregnant. The king was shocked and ashamed, but because he had lost his heir, he accepted the child. When the queen heard the news, her world collapsed again. She tried to talk to her husband. He begged her to understand. That same evening, Maribel moved into the palace. When the queen confronted her, Maribel shouted at her and called her a witch. She said the queen was cursed and would never give birth again. The queen could not believe her ears. She wondered if this was truly her friend or an evil spirit in her body. From that day, the queen lived in silent pain. Maribel made her life miserable. She accused her falsely, insulted her daily, and reminded her of her lost son. One morning,
Maribel claimed the queen poisoned her food to kill her unborn child. The king, filled with anger, ordered the queen to move to the boys' quarters. There, the queen suffered greatly. The maids were ordered not to give her food. She grew thin and weak. The king began to treat her badly, listening only to Maribel. Maribel later gave birth to a baby boy. The king was overjoyed. The queen, though heartbroken, was happy for the kingdom. At least there was an heir. 15 years passed. One day, while hunting, Kofi suddenly remembered everything. The memories came like lightning. The palace, his mother, the kidnappers, and Maribel's voice. He collapsed and cried. He told the hunter everything. The hunter, shocked, took him to the palace and demanded to see the king. At first, the guards resisted, but something about the young man made them listen. When the king heard the story, a maid ran to call the queen. The moment the queen saw him, she screamed and fainted. When she woke up, she touched his face and cried, "My son!" Maribel denied everything and said it was a lie. The king ordered DNA tests. The result confirmed the truth. Kofi was Prince Darius. The queen then asked for another test. Maribel's child was tested. The result was negative. The king ordered Maribel arrested. She confessed to everything: kidnapping the prince, seducing the king, lying about the child. She was punished according to the law. The prince was restored to the throne, the queen was honored again, and justice finally returned to the kingdom. The king makes sure the hunter and his family never lack anything. He transformed their life, sent some of the hunter's kids to abroad to study. He rewarded him for his kindness and for taking care of the prince like his own child. Moral of the story: jealousy can lead to destruction. The evil you do can come back to you after many years. Be kind.
Like, share, and comment. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.